Shot to the heart, and you're too late, darling. You give love a bad name.
Hello there. I am Darren Brown, master of perception deception, a wizard, ornament, a magician of the mind, a psychological strategist. Well, I think you get the picture. I'm here to explore one of the fathers of our field, Harlow, and the implications he had for not just a field of study, but for the very social setting in which we operate. The world, I guess you could call it. Guys, this isn't that trick. Excuse me, there seems to be a mix-up with the crew. Where was I? Oh, yes, Harlow. Now, Harlow's experiment happened nearly 50 years ago, but with my abilities of abstract amazement, I am about to transport us back to the height of the experiment, so we can witness his conclusions as he discovers them. We will also be interviewing the subjects of the project and its aftermath, and to hear their testimony. Now, ladies and gentlemen, prepare to be paralyzed by... Come on! You did that one on purpose this time. Let's just go. The 1960s. We must be here. The smell of rebellion, weed, low gas mileage vehicles, and the shooter on the grassy knoll. Unmistakable. The experiment is taking place in this room. That's it.
Who are you?
I, sir, Darren Brown, captain of the Captivating. Now that you know who I am, why don't you introduce yourself and explain what you are doing to this futuristic filming device without questioning who we are, what we are doing here anymore.
Alright, I am Dr. Harlow. I'm a psychologist, and I'm testing, I guess you could say, the effects of love. It's a very controversial experiment, and unlike most other studies going on today, it's not typically measurable or quantifiable. This is because love is such an abstract idea that no matter what the results, it can only be a theory.
So, how are you going about this experiment?
Well, separated baby monkeys from their mothers for either 3, 6, 12, or 24 months as the first part of the experiment.
Oh, wow. Never knew that part of the experiment. That seems really cruel.
Well, Darren, it really is. This kind of isolation has caused in some babies, rhesus monkeys, blank staring, cage circling, and in rare but very satisfying cases, self-mutilation. But as you can see on that calendar, it is 1960s, and I don't have to worry about any pesky animal protection agency breathing down my neck.
Okay, can we see...
Can I whip you?
What?
Never mind.
Okay. Well, as shocking and unethical as your experiment might seem, I'm sure it will have a profound impact and uncover fundamental truths that will heavily influence our understanding of child development. Are there monkeys or something somewhere?
But of course. Little attention has been devoted to the research of love because the dearth of experimentation, theories about fundamental nature of affection have evolved at the level of observation, intuition, and discerning guesswork. Whether these have been proposed by psychologists, sociologists, anthropologists, physicians, or psychoanalysts. I feel I should take it upon myself to do just that, and thusly I believe I have created an experiment to test love and attachment in the earliest onset, that is, between a baby and a mother.
Ah, yes, but how are you able to test love?
Well, most of the theories on affection between infants and mothers is purely primal, merely a means for the child to obtain water, relieve thirst, and avoid pain. However, I believe this is an inadequate explanation. The basics necessities don't always outweigh a want to belong. So I have created 2 monkey mothers, one a wire mother that will provide food and water to the babies, but with no chance of comfort. The other mother is made of soft terry cloth. It offers comfort, but does not offer food. After separating newborn monkeys from their mothers, as I mentioned earlier, they were to be raised by two surrogate mothers.
And by doing this, you are able to see how long each baby spent with each of the fake mothers and thusly determine if newborns were strictly affectionate for survival purposes.
Indeed, Darren. My, you are a quick learner.
I suppose...
Are you into bondage?
What?
Nothing.
Did you just ask if I was into bondage?
Of course not, my silly and fine-looking specimen from across the pond whose accent is officially melting my butter. Oh yes, where were we? Oh yes, the experiment. The monkeys have been separated at birth from their real mothers, and have been with these surrogate mothers for almost a month now. See which mother they are currently with? The terry cloth mother. As is the trend we are seeing with all but a few of our monkeys, which some of which have been tested for almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years? Don't you think that separating a baby monkey from their mother for that long could have severe repercussions on it later in life? Can't you just stop the experiment?
The experiment must continue.
But I'm just saying...
The experiment must continue.
All right. Well, what the sadistic freak back there doesn't know is that we are from the future and actually have recorded interviews with the monkeys, all grown up, that took place in this experiment as babies. They discuss the psychological implications of this experiment and how it affects their lives to this day. Observe. So, is it pronounced Cornelius?
Yes.
All right, Cornelius. What do you remember of the Harlow experiments?
Well, Dan, I was an infant at the time, but I was used to the experiment until I was 1, so I do have some vivid recollections of the experiment because of my age.
So you fell for the wild mother and the terry cloth mother?
That is correct, Dan.
When did you realize that these weren't your mothers, if ever?
Well, surprisingly enough, Dan, most of the monkeys never realized that the fake mothers were, well, fake. I was one of the lucky ones that figured this out after a while and was then returned to my real mother, who then didn't recognize me, so didn't want to accept me as her own.
My God. Is it okay that we show the footage from that day?
By all means.
So that is the day you decided that both those mothers weren't your actual mother?
Correct.
So, how's your relationship with your mother today? I know you said that she initially rejected you as a child, but did she ever come around?
Yes, she eventually came around, although I'm not going to lie, it did take several years and a lot of convincing. However, it just didn't feel the same as having a mother for the entire time I was an infant.
In what ways?
Well, she seems to overwhelm me with guilt sometimes. For example, last year, for her birthday, I got her a bouquet of bananas, and she just looked at me and said, "Only a dozen? This is my 50th birthday, and all you can get me is a bouquet of bananas? Your sister bought me a round-trip tickets to the Galapagos Islands to walk the route of Charles Darwin, and all you can get me is a bloody bouquet of bananas? Of course, it all makes sense. You couldn't even recognize me from a bloody heap of aluminum. Where did I go wrong with you?" Well, it's kind of always been like that. I've never been able to live up to her expectations. I've always felt like a disappointment in her eyes. I really think the experiment is to blame for this, but either way, it's pretty bloody annoying.
Sounds like a normal mother-son relationship to me. Well, Dr. Harlow, I thank you for your time.
You don't want to stick around?
Yeah, I'm sure. Get the hell out of here. Alright. Well, I hope you enjoyed our path to the past, our journey to the adjacent. Hopefully now you can have a better appreciation for the work that went into experiments during the 1960s. It was a time of change, revolutionary ideas, and closeted homosexuals would seem, but they have come to an end. So, I am Dan Brown, the illustrator of illusion, and this was Harlow's experiment on the theory of affection.